Okay, welcome to Davinci tips and tricks. I mean, this is a lot. I'm gonna run through all this. So I came with this. So in terms of how I started this grade, so I have my base node tree that is just like this, and then just the ODT on my LUT dev, so I can start visualizing the Rec.09 image or the log conversion. And from there, what I'm doing first is creating the look, and then once I'm super happy, I need to just check that it works on, well, in this case it's the same sort of scene, but it works in all the different scenes that you got on your film. And the idea is that to make tweaks until it works for everything. And from then on, once I'm happy with the look, yeah, I jump back and I start working on clip by clip, and I just do like 2 or 3 passes. You know, the first pass just to get the clips back into exposure and contrast, and then starting checking on, you know, on more nuances of balance, saturation, and then power windows. Let's go back into the look dev that I came with for this sequence. I'm gonna fly through, sorry guys. So I'm first applying a film, I call it film character. It's a compound node, so within this node we have a bit of sharpening, a bit of film blur. The main thing is grain, because grain, so I like to sharpen certain images a bit, and this is not just straight sharpening, it's got a bit of a complicated edge detecting thing, so it's not applying sharpening to the whole image at once. But then I like to apply a subtle film blur, because once you apply the grain, again the grain will sharpen things up a little bit. So film has that soft look, which digital has the opposite. Digital has a very harsh look. So to recreate a bit of this filmic look, I'm blurring just a little touch. Then a bit of halation for those highlights without much color. I have a few notes here that I can, it's a bit complicated in chroma. I can add more or less of that red halation that we'll know and love. A bit of glow, highlights, and a little bit of on the shadows as well, pushing the shadows down, and an extra highlight roll-off. Well, I'm saying extra, I used it at a clip level just for this clip, but I'm using it throughout the whole video, the whole sequence or film, and it's just very subtle roll-off here. It looks quite a lot, but at this stage it's not quite a lot, and it really depends how the image was exposed. So this is gonna compress the highlights there. Then grain, but usually the usual technique, if you're gonna add grain, is to add grain, and before the grain you can go into just add another node prior to the grain, and come here to the blur and just go 49 or 48, probably 49, just a touch down to softening the image before you apply the grain that will sharpen it up again. If you're looking for a very sharp image, by any means, do not add any blur. This is just more of a film recreation thing. Then before we come to the ODT, and I said I'll explain why I'm doing things after the ODT, and it's because of these two. I'm adding, I call it film density, which actually it will add density to certain colors or most colors in the image. You can see her hair, how bright it was before, the rucksack, and what else? And these greens, and how it's virtually it's not changing the saturation, it's just making them more dense. I'll probably do another completely different video about DCTLs. DCTLs are Davinci Color Transform Language. So different, I'm not one, but different color scientists and developers will utilize like all the power of the mathematics of encoding of Davinci, and they will create certain DCTLs. This is a free DCTL, by the way. You can find them. You type free DCTL, and there's a few websites that you can download demos, or there's a lot of websites that sell these DCTLs, and they're amazing, but sometimes very expensive. This one and Tetra are for free. Tetra is very powerful, but this one, yes, film density. So you can choose the red channel, green channel, blue channel. They call it channel weight, which is fair enough. It's the weight of of that density. You can see what it's doing to the greens. Yeah. Same with the reds here. You can see how it's been affected, and you know, if you push it too hard, it's going to affect different values as well. And those blues, you know, if you can see the rocks, like it gets really dark. Yes, it also affects the greens, you know, as I say, if you push them too hard. So it's sort of striking a nice and desired balance. And Tetra is another one that, you know, someone went and separated some of the color channels and created some really cool sliders, red and red, red and green, red and blue, which is, in a way, if you go to channel mixer, it's like a very, very enhanced way of looking at this. Which are, you know, how much green and blue are in the red, how much red and blue are in the green, etc., etc. So yeah, you can do the maths and count how many options you have there and how many you can see visually here. Anyway, so basically what I'm doing with this is just bringing that video-y saturation of the blue down and into the cyans to create that cyan look rather than this more glowy video looking blue. And then I'm going to the ODT at this point for the reason that, oh, sorry, let's go this way. So as you can see here, and this is a parallel mixer, these two, if you go to a name, is 2383, it's the Kodak Rec 09 color, and Kodak 2383 Rec 09 contrast. So I explain on other videos how to separate the color and the contrast from LUTs, and this just happened that it is with a layer mixer. So if you didn't watch that video, go back and watch it, because you'll learn how to create this, which is just separating the color. I mean, that is making things a bit odd. Very interesting. That line that adds to the left, where is it getting it from? I don't know. It's amazing. Anyway, with this color option, I'm extracting the color from this LUT, and this LUT is the free LUT that comes with Davinci Resolve with the film looks. And as I explained in probably many videos ago, these LUTs work with a Cineon output. So that's why I have the ODT here. So I can get this Cineon to film log and then add this film print emulation, or you can see it sometimes as FPE, film print emulation. And why do I have this my film characteristic before my film print emulation is you're gonna see different people doing different things. Some people add it at the very, very start of the node tree, at the clip level, and they will say it's a good theory. I mean, it's something good what they say. They usually say that it's because you shoot the film and the grain is already embedded on the film. So if I'm going to a clip level, this is correcting those little things that maybe, and just maybe, with more time, many other more tools, it could have been corrected during the shoot to match exposure, contrast, balance, etc., etc. So in a very, very ideal world, which it doesn't exist, you will not do any of this, and you just develop the colors as an overall film, press play, press export, and that's it. The truth is that different scenes, different shots, or within the same scene, like one shot to the next, they will look different for many different reasons, because we're not robots, we're not computers, and as much as we have light meters and monitors and this and that, sometimes it's not feasible to, with the time given, to achieve perfection. So this is pretty much what you would have done in camera on the day, apart from, or again, you know, if you could have put a massive ND on this part of the sky, you would have done it on set, but there's no time. And you can't do it because, you know, you have to ask Mother Nature to change things for you. But then, yes, the first thing that I'm doing on my look development is the film characteristics and the grain. Yeah, then I'm doing this extra. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. You know, touching on those colors I think they are too crispy, and giving it more density to become more filmic, if you will. So once I'm done, I'm going to transform that image and add my film print emulation with that same theory that I was saying of those guys who had the grain at the very, very start of the project. I'm doing the same thing in a different way. I'm adding at the very first part of the look development, and once I'm adding the film print emulation, those colors and characteristics of that film print will affect the grain. So essentially I'm doing that theory. And then so I explain this is the color of the film print emulation, the one I chose it 23A3, and the contrast. And then these are things that I have them, I have this whole tree as a preset saved, so I just apply it, and these are some of the things I will play with, and not so much play with, I just on and off and see if they give me anything or not, and then I move on. So let's call them presets I have here, so I don't have to build certain effects. So I got a crunchier film curve that I usually crunch up more on the low and low mids, and I liked it, so it's not so milky everywhere, so it gives a bit more contrast ultimately. And I have this ultra, look at this curve, this is mental. I'm enhancing all these highlights. This is very well again captured, nothing's clipping. I'm going for my low contrast, fairly low contrast. We can see the blacks are not even crunched up, are pretty milky. If you compare her leggings bottom alert again with the pure black of the black bars, they are quite milky. So they're here, and the highlights are not really going above 700. So at this stage I said, okay, for the whole mountain thing, I do want to feel those highlights coming a bit more aggressively, a bit less painterly. This is more, everything's softer. It's quite a nice like paint as a painterly, and again, I'm virtually with this too, I'm giving it more contrast. So we go for really nice, as a painterly soft image, to a tiny bit more contrasting, more aggressive and localized. One, and for the mid and lows, you can see that up here is doing nothing. It's mostly here and the lows, and this one just those highlights, and they start separating the clouds, right? Like the difference in luminance amongst the clouds. And then I haven't used any of this, so that's why they are disabled. I go to go like bleach bypass. This is an enhanced like low blue tint, a bit of a split toning, to be honest. Look at all these things that the curves are doing. This is something I created. I think I showed it to you in one of the Look Dev episodes. You can see again on the lows, this is split toning, but I've decided not to use any of this, but I'm leaving it there just in case, the client, the director, whoever comes, oh, can we make it more crunchier, bleach bypass and this and that? Yeah, why not? I already have it there, so I might as well leave it. This last one, again, it deserves a whole episode. I'm using the texture pop effect on Davinci, and this is just for that extra pop on the texture. You can see without, with, just play with it if you want to a bit of punch on your image. I recommend going the advanced way because the simple is quite simple, and then what you want it to affect, that micro contrast, shadows, midtones, highlights, etc., and the usual global blend is super detailed, super powerful, as most things within Davinci. And if you want just a mid crunch overall detail, you have this wheel here for that enhancement. And sometimes, or more often than not, I don't tend to sharpen the image as such, although I did it for the film characteristic, just qualifying edges, really localized. But for a final overall mastering touch, I think the texture pop works really well, and I encourage you to play with it and use it. So this is probably one more thing. Why not? Because it wasn't long enough. You can see some bars here, and I love non-16:9 aspect ratios, which are in a sense more filmic. How do I do it? Or maybe you don't know, maybe you thought that this was captured like this. No. So there's an option here. You go to view. No, you don't go to view, you go to timeline, and if you go up down here, it's called output blanking, and you have some of the 133. Don't quote me on this one, but I think the latest, or also actually some of the Wes Anderson films are shot directly on this format or similar. These are standard, so pretty sure it's 133, 1666. Many others, the 185 is a standard. One of the widest, mostly uses a 235. You probably heard a lot about this and 235. And then just to finish on this one, I thought that this clip, by adding this blanking, it was quite reset. It was quite edgy, so it lacked of that more pleasing headspace when applying the blanking. What you can do is, if you come here, there's a lot of options. I'm gonna touch only on two quickly, because now I'm here. There's one that I really like. So you can work on the, not the pan in this case, called tilt, and just reframe. So basically this output sizing is where you would come to reframe your shots. If you were to, I do sometimes, to not copy grades but to get inspired, I have a vast array of sort of reference film. So sometimes I'll give you two examples. So I come to, let's say I have this, it has a really nice look, and I want to say replicate it or get inspired. In this case, I could sort of do this and have or what matters to me is these two characters, the background, the sky, just to assess. You can really see how these highlights have it's clearly like split tone. Yeah, this works perfectly as a split there. But what happens if come to gallery, something completely, this is from the White Lotus. That's the first season, has such a pushed look that this is one of the things I was this is not invisible anymore. I can, the grade is insane. As soon as you watch the first 15 minutes, you're into it and you don't think about it anymore. The first time I watched it, it was like, what the actual, you can see here on the thumbnails. And this is the thing, again, just to reinforce what I was saying. This is an exterior. Yeah, exterior again, interior reception of the hotel, inside a hotel room, a different hotel room, a wide not panoramic, but a wide shot of the whole resort into the sea. I think this is how it starts, which is this is in North America, not even Hawaii, because you can say, yeah, this is Hawaii and it's got its own like look and feel. Of course, it's not real life, but and then when you're in America before departing with the boat towards the island, you could argue that you would have a different sun, different colors. But no, I mean the look and feel of the whole series 1. It's been applied throughout. This is on the way to Hawaii, this is in North America, and this is a wide exterior inside different hotel rooms, whole and exterior that I want to concentrate. This one, it's the same grade throughout, and it's what I'm saying. This is at a timeline level, and then just tweak clip by clip, maybe on this whole scene with the look depth, and overall these three colors were like popping insanely. So on a clip by clip basis, you bring them down. Maybe the look depth was perfect and it works on every single shot. I don't know, but it's clearly applied to the whole series as a one look, or what we call a show LUT. Again, show LUT, you see on my screen, this is not a LUT, is it? But I didn't do anything, as I said, any qualification at all, right? So I can come here and I can generate a LUT, and this is my show LUT. But yeah, I can export my look, create the show LUT, send it to the cinematographer and director or the producers of the show, and they will be shooting and monitoring the show, obviously with a DIT on set, looking at this image. So the look is already there, and it will be applied for the whole show. Then it's a matter of how the lights the cinematographer is putting on set, how the costumes react to that. Obviously they would do tests beforehand with the wardrobe they have in mind and the sort of light, if they have time, not always. So for the Joker, again, Jill Bogdanovich and her dad, they go with the cinematographer, with the actor, with the director. They went to the locations that we're thinking to plan on that, staircase when the Joker comes down at the same time of the day they were planning to shoot, blah blah blah. They had like 2, 3, 4, however many they have time to and budget, test shots with the same camera lenses. They went to the lab or post-production house, they created the look until they were happy, cinematographer, director and colorist Jill Bogdanovich and her dad, and then they used that show LUT to monitor the whole show film in the case of the Joker, as they were shooting it and making artistic decisions on set tailored to that final look. Anyway, so I digress a lot. So I chose this as a reference. Doesn't matter that it cuts her head. Then I wanna sort of be inspired, but I wanna, I don't know, just see her face. I wanna replicate her skin tone, but she's on the right. How do I do it? And of course you can swipe to the side and do just sort of a compromise there, half and half. Or you can also do, so we have, she's looking to the left, I want her full face, and then you come here in sizing, you come to reference frame and you can pan. Yeah, boy, you can pan, you can tilt, you can zoom, and you can move that reference to the exact point you want to be able to start manipulating the image further. So wow, this was a long one. Hopefully I packed a lot of ideas, knowledge, whatever you want to call it, and you got something positive out of it. So yeah, upwards and onwards. Go open DaVinci and start playing, because for me this is so much fun. I know I don't sound like one and it sounds a bit sarcastic, but that's how I talk, a bit sarcastic. Okay, so until next time, bye.